She appeared out of nowhere, barefoot, trembling, and clutching a pink backpack covered in blood. 12 outlaw bikers stared as she whispered the words that would change their lives forever. "Can you hide me from my daddy?" Every head in the Devil's Outcasts motorcycle club turned toward the sound. There, at the entrance of their dimly lit garage, stood a little girl no older than 6. Her tiny arms wrapped around a pink backpack that seemed to swallow her whole. It was 2 in the morning. The club's hideout sat miles from any town, deep in the desert. Their security was tight, motion sensors, guards, and cameras. Yet this small child had slipped through it all. Barefoot and trembling, Razor, the club president, a man with scars that mapped the story of his life, took a slow step forward. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked, his tone low and cautious.
"Emma,"
she whispered.
"Emma Rodriguez." Her voice quivered, but she didn't back away. "My daddy's coming for me, and I don't want to go." "Where's your mama, kiddo?" asked Chains, the club's enforcer, a mountain of a man with inked arms and a gravel-deep voice. Emma's eyes welled up.
"Mommy's sleeping in heaven with the angels."
"Daddy said so." She hesitated, her small hand clutching the backpack strap.
"But I think Daddy made her go to sleep. There was red stuff on her head before she went away." The bikers exchanged dark looks. Men who'd seen more than their share of blood and violence. They understood exactly what that red stuff meant. Razor crouched down to meet her eyes.
"How did you get here, Emma?"
She pointed behind her. "I followed the broken white line on the road. Mommy showed me once when we drove past. She said if something really bad ever happened, I should find the scary-looking men who fight monsters." Then, with the innocence only a child could have, she unzipped her backpack.
"I brought snacks, and Mommy's phone, and..." her voice trembled.
"Something else." From the bag, she pulled out a kitchen knife, its blade dried with blood. The garage fell silent. "Daddy was hurting Mommy with this," she said softly.
"So I took it,"
Mommy said. "If something bad happens, you take the evidence." She looked up, her big brown eyes full of fear.
"Is this evidence?"
Before anyone could speak, Emma reached into her bag again. Out came a small digital camera and a tiny flash drive on a Hello Kitty keychain. "Mommy taught me to take pictures when Daddy got mean. She said the police wouldn't believe us unless we had proof, because Daddy was good at pretending to be nice." She turned on the camera. The first image showed a woman with a black eye. The next, bruises on her arms. The third, worse. The men turned away, unable to watch. There were 47 photos in total, each one telling the same story of cruelty. "Where's your daddy now, Emma?" Razor asked, his voice barely more than a growl. "He went to meet his work friends, the scary men with fast cars and guns," she whispered, hugging her backpack.
"He said when he gets back we're going on a long trip where nobody can find us."
"But I don't want to go. He scares me. He made Mommy sleep forever." Before Razor could respond, a distant rumble filled the night air. Engines. Headlights cut through the darkness outside the garage. Emma froze.
"That's Daddy's friends," she said, voice cracking.
"Please don't let them take me." She darted behind Razor as 3 cars rolled up. From the first, a man stumbled out, drunk, furious, waving a gun. 2 others followed, moving with cold precision. "Cartel muscle, Emma," the man screamed.
"Get out here right now. You took something that belongs to me."
The outcasts spread out in formation, 12 hardened bikers against 3 armed men.
But behind them was a trembling child. She took the ledger.
Emma's father shouted to his men. "The little brat has the flash drive." "Sir," Razor said evenly, "you need to calm down." "Don't tell me what to do," the man snarled. "That drive has our entire operation, our names, money, everything."
"If the cops get it, we're dead." One of the cartel men raised his gun. "Then we don't leave witnesses," Emma whimpered.
"Daddy, I don't want to go with you." Her father's face twisted with rage.
"You don't understand what you've done. Give me that drive or we're all dead."
And then, something no one expected. Emma stepped out from behind Razor. Her voice, small but unshakable, filled the air. "You hurt Mommy," she said, steady now.
You made her go to sleep forever.
"And now the police will know everything." Her father's fury boiled over.
You ruined everything. I should have gotten rid of you the same night as her. He never finished the sentence. The next 90 seconds erupted into chaos.
The bikers moved like soldiers, fast, precise, merciless. When it was done, the three men lay unconscious, zip-tied to the floor. Emma approached one of them quietly, picking up the fallen gun with 2 fingers, just like her mother had shown her.
This goes to the police too, she whispered.
"More evidence?" She turned to Razor. "Is it over?"
Are the bad men going to jail forever?
Razor looked at her, at the camera, the flash drive, the blood-stained knife.
Yes, sweetheart, he said softly.
"It's over." The police arrived 20 minutes later. By then, the 3 men were bound and groaning on the concrete, their weapons neatly stacked on a table. The evidence, the camera, the knife, the flash drive, lay beside them like pieces of a dark puzzle. Emma's father and his accomplices were charged with first-degree murder, child endangerment, kidnapping, and organized crime. The flash drive revealed years of cartel dealings, money transfers, names, and records that would dismantle an entire criminal network. But Emma, she had nowhere to go. A social worker named Margaret Stevens, a firm woman in her 50s with eyes that had seen too much, arrived to take her into custody. She looked around the biker garage, the smell of oil, the rows of motorcycles, 12 men who looked like they belonged in mug shots, not bedtime stories. "She's got an aunt in California," Margaret said, "but with the cartel involved, we'll need to arrange secure transfer. It might take time." "She's staying with us until then," Razor declared, his voice steady and final. Margaret blinked. "Mr. Rodriguez, you're the president of an outlaw motorcycle club. You and your men have criminal records longer than my arm. The state would never approve you as guardians." Razor didn't flinch. "Then the state's got a problem, because the little girl chose us."
And we're not letting her go. What followed would become one of the most unlikely custody battles in state history. For now, Margaret became Emma's legal guardian, but the child refused to leave the clubhouse. She clung to Razor's leather
vest and cried until Margaret reluctantly agreed to let her stay temporarily under supervision. For the next 3 weeks, Emma slept in the club's meeting room, her pink backpack tucked beside her bedroll. The men, killers, thieves, and outlaws became her caretakers. They had no idea how to raise a child, but they learned. On the 4th morning, Snake, a lanky biker with tattoos crawling up his neck, found Emma sitting alone in the garage, her tiny hand resting on one of the motorcycles. Tears streaked her cheeks. "What's wrong, little warrior?" he asked gently. "I miss Mommy," she whispered, "and I'm scared the bad dreams will come back." Snake froze. He'd fought rival gangs, been shot twice, but nothing had ever made him feel as helpless as a crying child. Then he remembered something his grandmother once told him. "You know," he said softly, "when I was your age, my granny told me that when you miss someone in heaven, you should talk to them, out loud, so they can hear you." Emma wiped her nose. "Really? Really? And the best place to do it," he added, "is somewhere you feel safe, like right here, with all your uncles around." The other bikers had quietly gathered nearby, standing in silence. Emma closed her eyes and whispered, "Hi, Mommy."
I'm okay now. The scary men helped me, just like you said they would. And they're teaching me how to be brave, like you. There wasn't a dry eye in the garage. Even Chains, the hardened enforcer, turned away to hide the tears threatening to fall.
That night, Emma woke up screaming. Chains was the first to reach her, a giant of a man whose presence could terrify anyone, but now he looked completely lost. "Hey, hey, little warrior," he said, kneeling beside her. "You're safe here. The monsters can't get you." "But what if they come back?" she sobbed. Chains scratched his beard, thinking fast. "Well, here's the thing about monsters," he said. "They're scared of bigger ones, and guess what? We're the biggest monsters in this state, so they'll never come near you again." Emma sniffled. "Promise?" "I promise," he said. "And if you ever get scared again, you just yell for Uncle Chains. I'll come, no matter what. Even if I'm fixing my bike or in the shower, I'll come running. That's what family does." In that moment, something inside the clubhouse changed. It wasn't just about protecting a child anymore. It was about becoming something better for her. 2 weeks later, Emma came down with a fever. 12 hardened criminals turned into frantic fathers overnight. "Should we take her to the hospital?" Tank asked, pacing. Doc, the closest thing they had to a medic, hesitated. "It's just a fever, probably the flu." "I think," Razor's tone sliced through the air. "You think isn't good enough?" They took shifts, sitting by her bed. Chains read her picture books in his gravelly voice. Snake brought her ice chips and cold cloths. Demon, whose real name was David, hummed lullabies from his childhood. When Emma's fever finally broke the next morning, she opened her eyes to find 12 men asleep in chairs around her bed, coffee cups and medicine bottles scattered everywhere. "You all stayed with me?" she asked weakly. Razor blinked awake and smiled. "Of course we did, sweetheart. That's what daddies and uncles do." Margaret Stevens watched it all with disbelief. She'd seen criminals lie, manipulate, and fake their way through foster interviews. But this was real. These men had transformed their world for Emma. They child-proofed the clubhouse, replaced beer cans with juice boxes, and stocked shelves with bedtime stories instead of bullets. The walls, once covered in wanted posters, now held Emma's crayon drawings. Her tiny bed sat in the corner of the meeting room, surrounded by 12 sleeping bags because one of them always kept watch. Still, Margaret wasn't ready to believe that love could erase criminal records. She decided to test them. 3 months in, she arrived unannounced, clipboard in hand, ready to find chaos. Instead, she walked into a scene that stopped her cold. The entire club sat around a table, helping Emma with a school project titled, "What Makes a Family Special." "Protection," Chain said without hesitation. "Love," Snake added. "Being there when someone needs you," said Tank. "Teaching right from wrong," murmured Demon. Emma wrote every word down carefully. Then she turned to Razor. "What about you, Daddy Razor?" Razor paused. He looked around the table, at his brothers, at Emma. Then he said quietly, "A family is when a bunch of broken people realize they're stronger together and promise to keep each other safe, no matter what." Margaret's clipboard trembled slightly in her hand. For the first time in years, she felt her professional certainty start to crack. 6 weeks later, the custody hearing began. The state's attorney stood tall and confident, her voice sharp as glass. "Your Honor," she said, "these men are convicted felons. They live in a clubhouse surrounded by motorcycles and chaos. They solve their problems with violence. This child deserves stability, structure, and proper role models." Razor sat quietly beside his lawyer, jaw tight, eyes fixed on Emma, the little girl who had changed everything. When it was their turn, the defense attorney rose. "Your Honor, these men risked their lives to protect Emma Rodriguez. They've given her more safety, care, and unconditional love in 6 weeks than she's known her entire life." Judge Patricia Williams, a woman with decades on the bench and no patience for sentiment, leaned forward.
"Emma," she said gently, Do you understand what this hearing is about?
Emma stood. Her small hands gripped the edge of the table. Yes, Mum, she said softly. Some people think my new family is too scary to take care of me.
But they don't know them like I do.
Sometimes the scariest-looking people have the biggest hearts. The judge studied her, expression unreadable. And you want to stay with Mr. Rodriguez? Emma nodded.
He's my daddy now.
And my uncles protect me. They keep the monsters away. A ripple moved through the courtroom. Quiet gasps, a few tears. Judge Williams turned to the case file. There were character statements from teachers, doctors, even the local sheriff. Emma's grades had improved. Her nightmares had faded. She laughed again, but it was Emma's next words that changed everything. Your Honor, she said, I started a club at the clubhouse. It's called Little Warriors. It's for kids like me, kids who've seen bad things. Every Saturday, I teach them what Mommy taught me, how to be brave, how to take pictures when grown-ups are mean, and how to find safe people who will protect you. The room went still. Judge Williams glanced toward Margaret Stevens. Mr. Stevens, what's your professional recommendation? Margaret hesitated, then set her papers down. Her voice softened. Your Honor, I've worked in child welfare for 30 years.
I've placed children with wealthy families, foster parents, relatives, and I've never seen a recovery like this.
Emma has not only found safety here, she's found strength. These men have created something I didn't believe was possible, a stable, loving home that teaches protection and resilience in a dangerous world.
My recommendation
Is permanent custody to Mr. Rodriguez. The judge's gavel came down.
Custody granted, the courtroom erupted.
The devil's outcasts cheered like they'd just won the Super Bowl. Emma leapt into Razor's arms, burying her face in his vest.
Daddy!
She cried. Margaret Stevens, the woman who thought she'd seen everything, quietly wiped away a tear she hadn't expected. The night the custody was finalized, the outcasts threw the biggest celebration their clubhouse had ever seen, not because they'd beaten the system, but because they had become something better than they ever imagined. Emma still carried her pink backpack everywhere, but now it was filled with coloring books, crayons, and little cards with emergency numbers for children who were scared. In one pocket, she kept a disposable camera. For evidence, she liked to say, with a knowing smile. That same year, Little Warriors grew to 32 children, kids from broken homes, schools, and shelters. The outcasts taught them how to stay safe, how to speak up, how to never be ashamed of surviving. They ran background checks on abusive fathers, volunteered for local outreach, and quietly became the unofficial child protection service across 3 counties. Even the police began to call them for help in cases that needed a harder kind of compassion. They had a 100% success rate. Emma turned 10. She still wanted to be a police officer someday. She still called Razor Daddy. And her 12 uncles still kept watch like guardian wolves. Every year, on the anniversary of the night she first walked into their garage, they held a celebration, not to remember what they did for her, but what she had done for them. Because Emma had reminded them that even the most broken souls can protect the innocent. That family isn't about bloodlines or clean records, and that sometimes the roughest, most dangerous men can turn out to be the gentlest fathers. The flash drive that once saved Emma's life now rests in FBI evidence storage. The photos she took, the silent testimony of her mother's pain, helped dismantle a cartel operation and bring justice to countless others. And that pink backpack? It still goes everywhere Emma does, because some journeys need preparation, some memories need to be carried, and some little girls, armed with courage and a few snacks, carry enough strength to change the world.